Happy holidays. Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mish, along with George Kurtz. Maybe you got knocked out of your fantasy league. You're thinking about playing something to continue and have some fun. Well, why not check in on a little daily fantasy action? We're going to take a look at some of the pricing on DraftKings, maybe figure out who we can play this upcoming week. In fact, later on, we'll play a little buy or sell. If you missed the last 5 minutes of the show, well, then this is a little academic. George says that Jamar Chase is going to go off. I would agree. I think he is the highest priced player that you just have to find a way to get into your lineups. As we take a look at the tier 1 wide receivers, Chase is pushing 9,000 at this point. You don't see that often in fantasy. Justin Jefferson, he is at 8,200. Puka Nacua is at 8,000. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7,900. A.J. Brown, 7,800. Terry McLaurin, 7,300. And Adams, 7,100. McLaurin's another guy too, George. Like, you remember the first week of the season or the first 2 weeks, he wasn't touching the ball. Oh, he's a bust in fantasy. But this guy's been unbelievable each and every week.
It makes you wonder if he was on. I know he's on a good team now, Washington, Dan. But if he would have been on, play with our top quarterback his whole career, I mean, wow, the numbers he could have put up. This is a really good receiver here. That being said, I'm not playing him this week, not against Philadelphia and that defense here. I'm going to pay up for Chase. Guys, everything I said in the bold predictions is true. I think he's going to go completely bananas this week against Cleveland here. He's going to put up a ton of points here. JJ, I mean, for $300 less, I know that they're throwing him more in the end zone now. He dropped that touchdown pass last week. How many people did that tick off when he dropped? That would have been an easy touchdown here. I'm not paying for Nacua this week, by the way. It is supposed to be brutally cold here tomorrow. All right. I mean, you're talking low 20s here. Rams traveling from sunny L.A., cold New York, 1 o'clock start here. I don't know how well Stafford's going to play in that cold here. There's really very few offensive catchers or throwers in this game tomorrow, Jets-Rams, and I'm going to start anywhere.
All right, the player that's becoming annoying in fantasy circles, George, more than ever, and some of the talking too, believe it or not, George, the shine is off Tyreek Hill, man. I mean, what is going on with this guy? Like, he sends out a tweet earlier in the week, something about he may have to coach. He's down to 6,900 on DraftKings this week. He's not getting the ball. Boy, George, are the Dolphins going to let him go after the season? I don't know how they can, and I don't know how they can't. Like, it's a really tough one. You mentioned T. Higgins earlier at 6,800. Let's plug Jerry Jeudy in at 6,700. This guy's been fantastic, although, I don't know, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, will he have the same success with Winston? I guess that's a question. Garrett Wilson, 6,600. Cooper Kupp, I love you. I will never draft you ever again. I lost my league because of Cooper Kupp. 0 points in fantasy this week. Drake London, 6,400. Brian Thomas Jr. coming off a good week at 6,300. So let's touch on Hill here for a minute, George. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, they can't afford to keep him and they can't afford not. Isn't that a weird statement?
No, it is a weird statement, but it's also very true. I mean, you realize he has not had a 30-plus yard reception since week 1. That was a stat that came out this week. We all remember that big long one he had there. I mean, some of it, of course, you can blame it on the, all right, Tua went out. They were using crap at quarterback. All right, that's true. But, Tua's been back. And I know that everything's a short drop now. They want to get him, 3-5-step stop, throw the ball, don't take any hits. But where are the big plays from Tyreek where, one tackle's missed and you're gone? Yeah. It's just, no, you can't, not over a full season here.
No.
Are they going to move on from him? I'm looking at his salary cap. I know they re-signed him, right? They gave me
George also,
extension here.
Waddle too. Jalen Waddle too. They gave him a fortune. He's done nothing. Also, I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do. They made Jonnu Smith into a monster, and everybody else is not playable.
I don't think he can move. I don't think they can move on from him until after next year. By the way, looking at the cap stuff, you'd have to eat. It'd be a big eat. So it's $28 million next year, cap hit. That's a big eat. I think he gets next year and see if he can rebound here, and they'll maybe have to move on from after that. That was a weird tweet, by the way. It's time to coach. The hell does that mean? That was a weird one. Where you're going to retire? You're not retiring. I don't see you giving up all that money, but it's not been a very good year for the Miami Dolphins. Things have not gone the way we thought they were going to go.
No. So Jeudy is 6,700. You like him, or Brian Thomas at 6,300?
I am not touching Jerry Jeudy. All right. Listen, I know Winston throws a lot of picks. All right, I get that. But come on, DTR is not the answer. And you don't think he's going to throw his share of picks too? You're not going to score anything. At least Winston made Jeudy usable, right? No, I'm not going anywhere near Jerry Jeudy. Give me all the Brian Thomas you want. I'll take him gladly over Jeudy this week. It's not Judy's fault. He just doesn't have a quarterback this week.
Yeah, he was one of the big surprises in the second half of the season, no matter what happens the next couple of games. Jordan Addison, 6,200s, had a phenomenal year. Neighbors, 6,100. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is sort of taking over as the number one wide receiver in Seattle, 6,000. Shakir, 5,900. Jawan Jennings, 5,900. I like Jacoby Myers a lot, but not that Raiders situation. Can't do that. And then Devonta Smith, who's just done nothing. He's 5,800. So those are the value players at the bottom. All right, now let's take a look at the running backs. And Saquon Barkley leads the pack at 8,300. Bijan Robinson at 8,100. Chase Brown, 77. George has already said he likes Jahmyr Gibbs a lot. He's 75. Devon Achane, 7,400. Kyron Williams, always solid, 7,200. James Conner, 7,100. Boy, it feels like there's 2 or 3 good options among those.
Obviously, I'm going to follow my bold predictions. Gibbs is a must for me. An absolute must. So you're going to give me he's the fourth best price there? Probably not going to go do Barkley, by the way. He's a little banged up. We saw that last week as well here. But Gibbs is going to be an absolute must for me in all my lineups here. I don't mind going, a chain either, by the way. He's hot, right? So he's another guy I could think about going there. As much as I may not like the pass catchers in the Jets-Rams this weekend, I'm going to like Kyron Williams. I think he's going to have a big game here. I expect, you want to go Bijan Robinson against the Giants because Penix, the rookie, is going to be the quarterback. They're going to run the ball a lot. I'm right there with you. And I certainly believe that as well. But for me, it's going to be Gibbs. But like I said, if you wanted to go with the chain, if you wanted to go with Bijan Robinson, probably wouldn't knock you. If you're thinking about Chase Brown, if he doesn't get the end zone, he's not doing much, right? This team is a throw-first team with Burrow and Chase. Why I love Chase Burrow, Chase Burrow. I kind of like that. But I don't want Chase Brown. All right. Like I said, if he doesn't get, and when I say get in the end zone, he probably needs two to really pay off for you there. So I'm probably not going to go with him. But James Cook, by the way, is another one to look at. He's had a phenomenal season. A little bit of a league winner there in Cook. He's had some blah weeks, but he's been much better than expected as well because he is scoring touchdowns, something he didn't do in the past.
Yeah. So he's 7,000, and Jonathan Taylor, who I mean, if there was ever a play that cost a team in a game last week, it was that guy. I mean, as soon as that happened, Indianapolis went completely south. He is 6,900. Chuba Hubbard is always a solid play, 6,800. Pollard, 66. Aaron Jones, another nice game last week, 6,400. Seattle's running back situation, murky at best with these injuries. I think Charbonnet's hurt too, 6,300. Brian Robinson Jr., 6,200. We can even go further down from that, see if we can find someone. I can't play Breece Hall. I can't do it. It doesn't look like he's getting his full complement of snaps. I know he scored a late touchdown last week, but not doing much else. There's Charbonnet at 6. No on Stevenson, 5,900. Etienne, 5,800. Ford, 5,600. DeAndre Swift's probably going to be on another team next year too, George, right? Like 3 teams in 3 years. And Tracy is hurt, so you don't want to play him at 5,500.
No, I mean, I think of the lower ranked guys here, you could look at Jerome Ford. All right. Once again, Cincinnati, not the greatest defense here. I think when DTR is your quarterback, they're going to try and run the ball a lot, keep Burrow off the field. We know the game script here. They'll have to abandon that once they're down 17 points. But that's something I expect them to do here. So I think if you're going for a cheaper back of all these guys we talked about, Ford would be the guy I looked at. I kind of like DeAndre Swift as well. My problem is, once again, they're going to be down maybe after 2 series, 14-0.
They're horrible.
Then once again, he's got to catch the balls out of the backfield. They are horrible. So that's my only issue with him. And you're probably right. He might be looking for another team next year as well. So Jerome Ford might be the guy I look at here as far as the cheaper you're running back twos.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that. He catches balls out of the backfield. Chubb is now out for the season. I kind of like the thinking there. As I mentioned with Tracy, maybe it's Devin Singletary time. You certainly could pivot there. Other cheap running backs on teams that are like out of it. The Raiders situation is now, back to Alexander Madison again. He's a cheap option with Sincere McCormick now out for the season as well. All right, we'll jump into the tight end position coming up next. Some really big differentiation between the guys at the top and the middle. George and I will dive into it after the break.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out. Just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards.
That was
Lincoln!
But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. Normally when you talk tight end in fantasy football this season, especially in DFS, it's very easy. You just see how much Brock Bowers is and you put him in. But George, last week the Raiders offense was brutal. I don't think it's getting any better this week. He's still the highest priced tight end, but I don't think I can pull the trigger here. I got to go somewhere else because they just don't have a quarterback. They're down to their third string. Trey McBride, 6,200. Kittle at 6. Jonnu Smith. Give me Jonnu Smith every week, 5,500. This guy does something every single week. Njoku's been banged up. TJ Hawkinson, not really as much part of the game plan as he has been in the past. So is it McBride here at 6,200? Is it Jonnu at 5,500? That's what's staring at me here.
I think I'm probably going to agree with you and save the money here and take Jonnu Smith. You know what he does, right? He's going to catch a truckload of passes, might get in the end zone here. It's not the worst matchup against San Francisco. I want to go with McBride, though we all know the problem with McBride. He's going to catch a lot of balls, but the end zone, he seems to be allergic to it. Although they are trying. Arizona is trying to get him a receiving touchdown. I think he has 2 touchdowns this year, by the way. One's rushing and one he recovered a fumble in the end zone. So he has hit the end zone, just not by catching the ball here. But I think in this case, I'm going to save the $700 because McBride is 62 and Jonnu Smith is 55. So I think that's where I'm going to lean here. Like you, I'm probably not going to go with Bowers. There's a chance that O'Connell does start this week, which would help Bowers certainly. And if I know that for sure by tomorrow, I might change my mind on this and go with Bowers here. But then you're also going to pay up for it. It's $1,000 higher than Jonnu Smith. 300 higher than McBride. So keep that in mind here. I may not feel the gamble is worth it.
Yeah, and I think honestly, like I can't believe Laporta is so cheap, but that's just the season that he's had, and I can't dive down on any of these guys. I think you're throwing your money away. Kincaid has done nothing. Henry is pretty much a nothing every week. Kyle Pitts, it's time to just stop with Kyle Pitts. It's just not happening there. Zach Ertz and Cole Kmet. Do we need to add anything more on this? Should we move on? I mean, you can't play any of those guys.
I mean, one of the biggest players I was wrong on was definitely Kincaid. I was all over Kincaid draft season. I've got a ticket on him for over 6.5 touchdowns. Right. I mean, it's just for the season Josh Allen has had, and then Kincaid's had the exact opposite. I mean, wow, didn't see that coming at all. So yeah, I mean, if you're putting any of these guys in, I mean, I guess okay. How about this? If you're looking to save money here, if Strange plays for Jacksonville, he's a guy I'm sort of on this week if he's playing here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's done well with Mac. Listen, you're doing this because you're saving money. Money. He's not going to have a monster game, but if you want 8 to 12 points. I can sort of see this if it allows you to pay up, for your top wide receivers, your top running backs. I can sort of see Strange. He'd be the guy I'd be looking at.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's go to quarterback, where Josh Allen is just so far and away the most expensive quarterback. 100 fantasy points combined the last 2 weeks. Jalen Hurts is getting hot. He's 7,800. Burrow's been solid, 7,500. Daniel's pretty much as good every week, 7,300. Jared Goff coming off the game of a lifetime against Buffalo last week. That's coming back down, 6,800. Sam Darnold, 6,500. I mean, I guess if you're not going to pay up for Josh Allen and you want somebody else on this list, you really cannot go wrong with Joe Burrow. It feels like every week, George, Joe Burrow's throwing at least 3 touchdowns, at least 300 yards. And he's just been on an absolute fire. If the Bengals had 9 or 10 wins, he'd be an MVP candidate.
I absolutely agree. All right. I'm all over Joe Burrow. My problem is this. I mean, can you win without starting Josh Allen? I mean, he's so good. He's running the ball all over the place. They want him to win the MVP award, right? He's nuts. He's playing New England. They're going to destroy New England. My only worry about Josh Allen will be the game's over in mid-third quarter.
He still plays,
he's not running the ball anymore.
He always stays in. It doesn't feel like they ever take him out. He
doesn't want to come out. It'd be very hard for me not to play him now. I think that's why I want to put Strange in my line so I can save the money for a Josh Allen, and not feel bad about it. Because as much as I love Joe Burrow, Allen's going to come close to those numbers anyway, and Burrow doesn't run. Or at least doesn't run anywhere near what Allen does. You're going to get another.
Right.
I think I want Allen. The last couple of weeks with Josh Allen's New England Jets, New England. My God.
Wow. Yeah. Lamar Jackson, of course, plays on Saturday, so that's why he's not among our options here. All right, so I do think this Miami-San Francisco game is a little underrated as far as offense goes, George. Miami just plays much better at home, and they play well against teams that are not that good. So I think Purdy's in play. I think Tua's in play. I could see 50 points in this game like it was 2 weeks ago against the Jets. You put Miami up against a good team, you go on the road, they get killed. But they play at home against a team not so good, and the Tua's throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Murray, 6,100. Stafford, you mentioned the weather issues. I'm off that. Drake May, 5,800, no chance. Geno Smith, after that injury, no. And naturally, Aaron Rodgers, you have to be super desperate to play. But of this list, I do think that Miami-San Francisco game, 2 teams playing really for nothing. I just think they just throw and go crazy in this game. I could see a lot of points.
I agree with you. When you're looking at this list here, like I said, Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, I'm not touching because of the weather. Can't say it again. Low 20s, a little bit of a breeze too. It's going to be cold. All right, not a game I'd want to be relying on offense, passing offense, especially here. Drake May, no way in hell. Geno might be interesting because you could pass on Minnesota, but he's banged up. Can he make it the whole game? I don't know. He hasn't done much lately, and he has major problems in the red zone. By the way, he has bad decision making in the red zone, and that's bad for us. So no. Of course, I have to start him in the league. Good luck to me. I think you're right about Tua and Brock Purdy. I'm not starting Kyler Murray. He's not running. If he's not running, his fantasy value is limited. I just find this strange when you're playing for a playoff spot. Now is when you have to run. You risk your body now, but he's not doing it here. So I'm going to go with you on Tua. I'll save the $300 over Brock Purdy.
Also with Purdy, just to expand this before we break, Purdy will be back as starter with San Francisco next year, right? Like you're hearing whispers a little bit about him. I think he's back, right?
Do you want to pay him $50 million plus a year? That's the question. Either you're paying it or you're moving on. I guess you could franchise him, but that's not good for their salary cap situation. So either you're paying it or you're moving on. This is a tough call for a GM. Tough call because he's not had a good season.
No, it reminds me of Jimmy G. It reminds me of Jimmy Garoppolo when he went through that contract negotiation too. That did not work out. All right, coming up next, we'll go through some of the odds over on FanDuel to win the AFC. We'll take a look at some of the seedings, see if anything changes between now and the end of the year. You're watching Fantasy Sports Today on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mish along with George Kurtz. Happy holidays from everyone here at SportsGrid, and we'll be back with more right after this, so don't go away.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why?
because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mish, along with George Kurtz. Well, Saturday afternoon, the Kansas City Chiefs, if they take care of business, George, they're going to be the number one seed in the AFC. This is the week, I think. They technically are not going to clinch, I don't think, but they're minus 270 right now over on the FanDuel Sportsbook, and a win would really just put them so far ahead of everyone else, including Buffalo, despite the fact that they have a head-to-head matchup. That's at least the way that I feel about it. Now, I don't think the Chiefs are going to win it all this year. I just think that they've had too much good fortune along the way, winning all these close games and then getting lucky now with Mahomes and his injury again. But they are going to play home games at Arrowhead again.
More than likely, it does seem that way. But this game today is going to be it's not an automatic win. Now, Houston already clinched their division. They have almost nothing to play for, right? They're going to be they're going to win the division, be the 4th seed. And it sort of is what it is there. So how much they're coming out today in Kansas City and looking forward to playing, I don't know. They're going to put a big fight here. Is Mahomes fine? Yeah. Maybe Hollywood Brown plays. Maybe he doesn't. We'll see. But if they slip up today, they play Pittsburgh next week. All right, that's another game, rough game, and it's at Pittsburgh. Yeah, and it will mean something to Pittsburgh no matter what, right? So I could see there being a problem. And then the last game of the season, I mentioned early in the show, Denver. There's a shot. There is a shot where if they would have to slip up today, because I don't think they would lose their last two. So they would have to slip up today against Houston, maybe for be a little bit more interesting down the stretch.
Now, the Bills are the favorites right now, as it stands over on the FanDuel Sportsbook. So they are the favorites right now to win it in the AFC. They're plus 190. And in all likelihood, if it was a 1-2 matchup between Buffalo and Kansas City, then Buffalo would have to go to Kansas City, although these things never happen. They always go sideways before the end. Baltimore is plus 380. And, George, I cannot even make a case for anyone else in the AFC. That's how bad it has been. Houston is just not as good as I thought. They're 11-1. So I'm never going to rule out Baltimore. The only reason why I'm a little less confident in the Ravens than I have been in the past, it's not to say that I think they're as good as Kansas City or Baltimore, and I've talked about this on the show before. They are the one team that has, for the last 15 years, had the equalizer. Game is tied. They're down 1. 10 seconds left. You bring in the kicker. He makes it every time. I'm not going to have that feeling going into this playoff, so I just don't even think that Baltimore's on the list for me.
They're on the list for me, but your concern is valid, All right, it is valid with Justin Tucker, who was had a rough year. Right, a lot of talk about should they release him and find somebody else? Who are you gonna find? All right, good luck with that. They should have beaten Kansas City week 1 in Kansas City, right? The toenail. Isaiah Likely couldn't stay in there. So I think they're dangerous. They're playing much better on defense I'd say over the past month, which is also why I think they're dangerous here. So I think Baltimore is still in this conversation. That's it for me. It's Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo. I'm not going Houston, Denver, Chargers, Cincinnati, Miami, whoever else might get in there. So I think it's up the top 3 teams for me here. But I'm including Baltimore in as a possibility.
Okay, and then to win the Super Bowl, the updated odds, the Lions have fallen back a little bit here. They're now 5-1 to win the Super Bowl. They were the favorite. Buffalo is plus 450, Philly plus 480, Kansas City is 5-1, Detroit 5-1. We just talked about Baltimore. Minnesota is 13-1, and so is Green Bay. I picked Washington, of course, so that's my team. I'm still taking Washington. I'm still taking Washington. I'm sticking with them.
Washington's getting smoked tomorrow by Philadelphia. Philadelphia's going. I firmly believe that. Detroit, it's a shame for Detroit, man. Just too many injuries. I can't see how they're going to survive this. I think they still might win the NFC or get the number 1 seed in the NFC. Their schedule is at Chicago, at San Fran, and then what could be a winner-take-all Minnesota and Detroit last game of the season. That could be fantastic here. And I think they would beat Minnesota in that scenario here. So they better, because if Philadelphia gets that number 1 seed and everyone's got to go to Philly, this is all over but the crying here. I don't see Detroit or Minnesota beating Philly in January on a Saturday or a Sunday night. Good luck to you. So I think Philly for me is the team to beat there. They might have some issues, Mike. They're not a perfect team here, but I like the Philadelphia Eagles a whole lot.
So Washington can't even win a playoff game? You don't think? No?
They'd be a 7 seed, right? So they would play 2. That's probably putting up against
1 and 2.
They would play Philadelphia
right?
again.
No, Philadelphia gets a bye. Or do you have Philly? Is that Yeah, no, Philly gets a bye.
I think Detroit holds on.
Right, but 2 teams get a bye, no?
No, 1 now. Only the 1 teams.
Oh, it's just 1.
Danville, 7 teams make the playoffs. Only the top seed gets a bye. So Washington would probably play Philadelphia again.
I like it.
Bye-bye.
I like it.
Bye-bye.
I can't root against Howie, though. That's the problem. All right, so let's take a quick timeout. I can't root against Howie. All right, coming back next, we preview every game in fantasy. Don't go away.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Played a decent schedule. They had maybe 500.
It just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
Yeah, this is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're going to go over the college football playoff, right, George? We're going to go over all the fantasy options for Tennessee.
SMU, Clemson, a little. Was it SMU and Penn State in a little bit, right? A couple hours.
And you
Used
got
to
it
be an
wrong at
SMU
first,
fan
but
back
you
in the
made
day.
up for it there. You got it right. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Ohio State, Tennessee. We've got some great games. Make sure you stay on the grid the rest of the day. But yes, it should be a lot of fun. All of these games, by the way. But George, I know's focus will be on the National Football League, as always. First game of the day on Saturday is Texans and Chiefs. So, boy, I got to tell you, 12-team leagues, I don't think either quarterback is starting going into the semis or finals of your league, depending on what kind of format you play in. So it's time to really parse through it. For Houston, Nico Collins is a must start. So is Joe Mixon. For Kansas City, George, who are the must start players going into this week?
Kelsey. You're probably starting Kelsey. I can't see you being able to do better than that. Worthy's not. Hopkins, no. No. Pacheco, maybe. Maybe they'll run the ball a bunch here. No. Kelsey will be the only must-start for me. Pacheco, listen, he's been out, a lot of the season, and he hasn't done anything since he came back, by the way. And they're splitting it with Kareem Hunt. Once he's probably a guy you're going to need touchdown deodorant. So I don't know if there's a must-start here for Kansas City outside of Kelsey.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But much better with Baltimore. Even though Pittsburgh's defense is really good, it's Lamar Jackson, it's Zay Flowers, it's Derrick Henry. Andrews is back playing very well. Definitely start Andrews. Bateman, I don't know. I guess you'd have to be a little bit desperate. And on the side of Pittsburgh, this is where it gets a little difficult here because without Pickens, I don't think you'd start any of the wide receivers. And Freiermuth is a really desperate play. How about Najee Harris? Najee Harris this week?
I mean, Baltimore has been good against the run all year. It's not what I want to do, but do you have better running backs than Najee? Do you have two better running backs on your team than Najee Harris? That'd be tough. Most teams probably not, but I don't want to start him. Freiermuth probably is a top 12 tight end, by the way. But you said it earlier in the show, these games are usually lower scoring. They're usually not shootouts here. That being said, I think Baltimore scores some points today. I think they're going to win this game pretty. I think they cover the spread. How about that? And I know the history says they won't, but I think they do.
Okay, fair enough. Now let's go to the rest of the games in the NFL. We've got the big showdown between the New York Giants and the Michael Penix Jr.-led Falcons. I think I'm going to take the Giants and the points this week, by the way. I know it's insane, but I think that this may be a mistake for the Falcons. I think this just reeks of desperation. They played so bad against the Raiders, and I get why they're doing it, but I don't trust any – Bijan Robinson, 100%. If Tyrone Tracy is out, I think Singletary is a play. They don't have another running back there, so I think he could play. Neighbors could play. Drew Lock is even better than what they've had. I'm not even sure. Look, this is an awful game, but every game counts now, George. DFS, even fantasy playoffs. I was really discouraged, George, by the comments of Pitts. Really discouraged seeing Kyle Pitts' comments. I just work here. Oh my gosh. That is not a huge endorsement for Penix. So, and he sees him in practice all the time. I'm a little worried.
I'm a lot worried. I'm a lot worried because in that one thing where I think I'm going to get spanked, I'm starting Neighbors. I'm starting London. All right. I think I took Mooney out of my lineup and I put in I think Josh Downs just because I want to get a little bit away from this game because with Drew Lock and Michael Penix, I don't know what we're going to get. I don't. Both defenses are poor, so that's what we're hoping for. If they're so poor, it doesn't matter here. But Locke has looked pretty awful here. I said I'd have been happier with Tim Boylan because at least he made Davis very usable last week here. And as for Atlanta, who knows? Penix has a rocket for an arm. He can make all the throws here, maybe. But it's not something I want to deal with. I don't, but I have no choice.
Yeah. To me, it's a pass on a lot of the Falcons. All right, so Lions-Bears. I was watching the Bears-Vikings very closely Monday night because my season came down to the Bears stopping the Vikings a little bit. And then I lost by 3 points. So I am a little bitter, but I think the Bears are awful. I'm with you, George. I think the Lions are going to absolutely roll them and take it all out on them. By the way, Caleb Williams, I watched so closely. He did not look good at all in this game. I mean, I can't figure out at all what's going on with the Bears. This poor guy, Thomas Brown, I was really hoping the interim coach would do a good job. He's not been good at all. That guy didn't check himself in at the end of the game. They didn't get the ball on 4th and 1. They couldn't get first downs. It's blow it up time for the Bears.
Yes, it is. It's going to make another offensive system for Caleb Lewis. We'll see what he can do with that next year. And they tried, right? You had Keenan Allen. You had some with DeAndre Swift. We thought that offense would be better. It just hasn't worked out. Adunze was drafted here. Slight chance of rain in this game, around 30 degrees with wind over 10 miles an hour. It's going to be a miserable day in Chicago, too. So I wonder if that calms things down a little bit here. But that being said, you're starting Gibbs. You're starting, Amon St. Brown. You're probably starting LaPorta. I know you and I don't love him there. Jameson Williams, Craig, we got to hope for the big play here. I think it's Williams and Patrick.
Good, Jameson Williams. He's actually. I think next year he's going to be really good, man. Like I
agree.
I know he didn't do anything until at the end of the game. I guess he caught a touchdown last week, but I have some faith in that guy. If he could just not get in trouble and get penalties and stuff like that, I think he's going to be a good player in this league. All right, Cardinals and Panthers. Cardinals still mathematically alive for the playoffs. Panthers are not. Some people thought the Panthers would still be competitive. They are not. Bryce Young went right back into that shell last week, looked awful, but Chuba Hubbard is the lone starter, I think, on the Panthers. How about on the Cardinals, George?
You're starting McBride, of course. You're probably starting Kyler Murray. I wish you would run, buddy. Run a little bit. Your fantasy value would be much more here. Connor, McBride, Kyler Murray's a maybe. Harrison, you're doing it because of the matchup here, not because of anything he's shown recently.
All right, let's go over to the Rams and the Jets. A cold day in New Jersey coming up on Sunday. I'm going to give you the easy discussion here. I'm so angry with last week. It's Stafford, maybe or maybe not. Puka Nacua, yes. Cooper Kupp, no. What happened to Cooper Kupp, man? And for the Jets, oh gosh, Devontae Adams. I don't care what league you're playing in. I mean, nobody's better than him in all of fantasy football right now. He's incredible. So yes, Devontae Adams. No on Breece Hall, no on Aaron Rodgers. The two locks for me are Puka Nacua and Adams. Cooper Kupp, no.
I played against Cooper Kupp last week, so I was very happy with that donut.
You cannot start him.
My only issue is this. I mean, if you have Cooper Kupp, you're probably starting him, by the way. You may not have faith, but you're probably starting him. I don't want to start anybody in this game. I mentioned this game is going to be brutally cold in New York. I don't know how Stafford and LA is going to adjust to this. All right, generally teams coming from the West Coast to the East Coast to play a 1 o'clock game don't have success anyway. You throw in low 20s temperature with a 10-mile-an-hour wind, good luck to you. And Stafford was awful in that Thursday night game. It's why Kupp had the 0, right? The rain. Didn't play well in the rain. No rain here. At least I don't think so. Clear, but it is going to be brutally cold here. I have no idea how the Rams are going to play in this game. So we'll see here. Nacua is going to go. I'm probably going to start Kupp. If I had him, I'm probably starting him in this game. I don't think I'd have 3 better receivers than him.
I get a 0. Yes, you do have a better receiver. Somebody that gets a 1, that's a better receiver. Eagles, Commanders, both quarterbacks, both running backs. We got to keep an eye on A.J. Brown, but generally both star receivers. This should have a lot of fantasy starters in this one.
I am so mad at the Commanders. They screwed me last week. I thought they would beat the snot out of the Saints. They didn't. I know there was time gate or whatever happened there where they stopped the clock when they shouldn't have there. But how do you only score 21 points against New Orleans? Or was it 20 points? Whatever. It's just, you got to be kidding me. All right. That was not happy with that game at all here. I think the Eagles smack them. All right. So Barkley's going to go. And by the way, you might want to think about Kenneth Gainwell in this game as well. Also, he could be a worthy play. We think Barkley's not going to get the same amount of touches. Keep that in mind. But you said it already. Hurts goes, Smith goes, Brown goes, McLaurin goes, Brian Robinson goes. Maybe Zach Ertz if you're desperate to sort of see that. Jaden Daniels goes as well.
All right. Finally, Browns and Bengals. The only Brown we've endorsed here is Jerome Ford. Judy's a little bit iffy, but the Bengals, it's all hands on deck. They're as good as any offense in football right now.
Agreed. You start everybody. Jerome Ford's the only person I'm starting on Cleveland. Maybe Njoku, once again. But I don't know what he does with DTR quarterback and not Winston. Njoku wasn't good with Deshaun Watson. He's only been good with Winston over the past couple of years.
All right, let's take a quick time out. We'll continue our conversation and wrap up our previews of the week in fantasy football. Don't go away.
You're not riding with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Where have you gone? Don't tell me It's your Philadelphia Eagles, Sonny. Who's the team for you?
You see that Vince Lombardi trophy that sits back here? That's a replica. And that's something that the Philadelphia Eagles have won as recent as 2017. The Buffalo Bills were notorious for making it to the Super Bowl and coming up lame, which they might be able to do. But my question is, can the Buffalo Bills even get to the Super Bowl?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out and just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Played a decent schedule. They had maybe 500. There's none of us.
That just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. Our previews of every game in the NFL continue. Here's the most scintillating game on the schedule, the game that George is going to have to tell his whole family to stay away from me. I'm watching Titans-Colts here on this Sunday. Ugh, does this game stink? Jonathan Taylor, sure. Did I miss anyone? Is there anyone else?
Pollard.
Is there anyone else
Pollard's
from this game?
You're probably starting
Oh,
Pollard.
Pollard, right. Yeah.
Maybe Josh Downs. Maybe. Over Cooper Kupp, he'll get you a point.
I'm good with that.
I'm
good with that.
That's it, right?
Definitely not anyone on Tennessee.
No, not with Rudolph. I mean, listen, with Levis, I wouldn't be any happy with Levis. Frank Wycheck. Yeah, put Eddie George in. No, I think
This is a terrible game.
This is not going to be a very good game at all.
No. All right, Vikings and Seahawks, much better here. Jefferson, Addison, probably Darnold, Aaron Jones, Seattle. Boy, their injury situation is very peculiar. Both running backs are banged up. The quarterback is banged up. Smith and Jigba, I think that's a good play there. But the Vikings defense just shuts everybody down.
You can pass on them. You can pass on the Vikings defense for what it's worth. I said earlier, Geno Smith has issues in the red zone every damn game. It's frustrating. I have Geno Smith in a 2-quarterback league, and he's not doing anything for me. And I'm deciding this week between Geno Smith and Aaron Rodgers, and that weather is bothering me for Aaron Rodgers. I'd much rather start Aaron. He's been he may be a complete nutcase, but he's putting up good fantasy numbers over the last couple of weeks. I want to start him. I just think the weather's going to be brutal. It's going to be tough for him to throw the football over and over again, even though he did play in Green Bay for his entire season here. You mentioned Kenneth Walker. Charbonnet is questionable. He's got the injury now. DK Metcalf has done nothing. I will start Smith and Najibba, right? He's been the guy. So I'm starting JSN here. You probably have to start Walker. You're going to have two better running backs than him. I sort of see not everybody on Minnesota goes. Everybody you mentioned, plus I'm more than likely starting Hawkinson as well.
Yeah. Patriots, Bills. So for Buffalo, it's the easiest. It's Josh Allen, it's Shakir, it's James Cook. Is there a Patriot to start? I know you're going to say Ramondre Stevenson, but I don't even believe that. I think this is a 0-start team.
I don't want to. Stevenson's going to have to get his points in the passing game, right? Because they're going to be down 1,000,000 points to nothing at some point here. I guess you can make it on for Hunter Henry, who hasn't done much either, but they're going to throw the ball a lot. At least I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. So maybe he's a play. I don't want to start him. It's complete desperation. All right, you have nobody else to go here. But those are the only two guys I can make an argument for, Stevenson and Henry, and they'll both probably need touchdown deodorant to really pay off for you.
All right. And then the Jaguars take on the Raiders in the someone has to win game. The Raiders are going to start Aiden O'Connell this week, so that does give the boost a little bit to the offense. So Myers is again in play, I think, for them. And Bowers, by the way, we talked about him not in play, but as we're doing the show, we realized that there's a different quarterback playing. Okay, so that's Aiden O'Connell. I would play Bowers again. For Jacksonville, Brian Thomas, can you make a case for any other Jaguar? I think the tight end is maybe the other one. But between Bigsby and Etienne, I don't know who's going to get what. They seem to come in and out of the game.
That's a problem, right? Which running back to take there. But they're both decent. I think I would lean towards Bigsby, but that's just a guess here. Myers and Bowers, you're right here. Thomas goes for me. Strange is the tight end we're talking about. I can't say it enough. Keep an eye on his injury prognosis for tomorrow. We'll see if he's going to play. But Strange is a little sneaky guy I like there if you're desperate for a tight end.
All right, Niners, Dolphins. George and I illustrated this before. I'm a big believer in this game. I don't know who's going to win, but I do think points are coming. I see a loose game between both teams, so I'm going to fire up everybody that I can. Now, Jalen Waddle, I don't think he's going to play. George, I could see Debo actually having a good game in this one. I'm going to play the Niners. I'm going to go back and think this is the Niners team of last year. I think Purdy's going to throw all over the place too. I think Tua is going to throw on San Francisco. I see a high-scoring game, fun game, late game, by the way, in Miami, first time all season.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you. I don't think I'm starting Debo. It's just I don't think I want to rely on him right now. It depends what else I have on my roster. But I'm with you, everybody. Pretty much if you have a San Francisco 49er or a Dolphin, he's going in this game. Just Debo and Waddle, the only two guys I'm probably going to stay away from.
All right, finally, Bucks. I can't believe they didn't flex this game out. Bucks, Cowboys. They're never flexing the Cowboys out of anything. Cooper Rush actually been okay. The running back's been pretty good. There's a lot of fantasy points coming in this game. Tampa Bay too.
Said it earlier, if you're in trouble, you gambled on Sunday afternoon, you didn't pay off, go with the overs in this game. Evans has a big game. Yeah. Mayfield a big game here. Cowboys, Rush has been okay at best. He's terrible. But they're going to run the ball a lot with Dowdle, try and keep the Bucks offense off the field here. I'm sure Lamb will do well as like he does every game here. Lamb will put up numbers for you also.
All right, time to play a little buy or sell. Buy or sell, the Baltimore Ravens will win the AFC North. George, you buying or selling?
I'm buying. I'm all over this. I think the Ravens are going to win later on today. I think they'll take care of business the rest of the season. I think they do win this division. I think Pittsburgh and Minnesota, teams I haven't given enough love for this season. But I think Pittsburgh, no George Pickens. I said it many times. With Pickens, they're a top third offense. Without Pickens, bottom third. Baltimore wins today. They win the division.
I would agree. All right, let's go to Kansas City. They play Houston later today. Buy or sell, the Kansas City Chiefs will be the #1 seed in the AFC playoffs.
I think you said it earlier. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, but they are going to win the #1 seed. I just can't see them losing 2 of the last 3 games. It's tough. You play Houston, you play Pittsburgh, you play Denver, but I don't see them losing 2 out of 3. The last 2 games are on the road, by the way. So I'm going to buy this. They will be the #1 seed in the playoffs, but they are not the best team in the AFC.
I'm going to sell. I think they lose to Houston Saturday and lose one more, and Buffalo ends up the #1 seed. This luck is going to run out on the Chiefs. Deshaun Watson has been told he's back with the Browns next year. Buy or sell, Watson will be the Week 1 starting quarterback in Cleveland.
I don't know if I should feel bad for Browns fans or not. Yeah, he probably will be because they can't get out of that contract, right? But they got to do something. All right, listen, we all like Winston. He's a fun story, but he's not the answer, right? He's just the #2 here. So I'll buy it. Yeah, I think he will be because they won't want to move on.
I think it's a sell for me. It's going to be Andrew Luck. No, I'm just kidding. Buy or sell, Christian McCaffrey will be a first-round pick next year in fantasy football. Buy or sell, George?
Oh, man. He won't be #1 overall. That's the damn sure. I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy. Yeah, someone's going to do it. It won't be me, but someone will.
All right. We'll be back with more of the Grinch after this.
On, Donner, and Blitzen. Now, Rudolph, now!
Merry Christmas to all!
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
You know, I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards.
That was
thinking!
But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today. We saw something that we haven't seen in 40 years, a free kick, which was a fair catch, and Dicker, the kicker for the Chargers, ended up kicking it right through the uprights. I've heard about this rule before, George. I remember it, and it's mentioned once every 3 or 4 years. I didn't expect to see that, though, on Thursday. How about you?
I'm shocked. No, of course you didn't expect to see it. I'm shocked it's been since 1976 since it's happened in a game. This is a regular season game. It's just shocking to me that we haven't seen that before. It was sort of embarrassing, too, by the way. The refs, they're actually reading the rule book. Are you kidding me? Actually reading the rule book here, trying to figure this out here. That was, I thought that was more comical than anything else. So, but yes, it was pretty cool to see here. The 15-yard penalty certainly helped. And then Dicker crushed it. So, hey, good for the Chargers.
All right, before we go, it's time for us to give one final thought here as we wrap it up before the big holidays coming up. It is time now for the SportsGrid 60.
All right, speaking of our friends in stripes, right? The big thing now, or a lot of talk now, especially on social media, is that face masks. They're missing face masks all over the place, right? And it's true they are. It's just weird because it's usually one of the easier penalties to call here. But now people are like, oh, we got to be able to review this. Are we going to be comfortable with this? We're going to review penalties here. We tried that with pass interference a few years back, and that was a disaster. Mainly because there's pass interference on every play. All right, there is. There's holding on every play. Do we want this reviewed? Why aren't they calling it every play? What's the degree of what's the degree of pass interference it has to be a penalty? What's the degree of holding it has to be a penalty? Face mask is a little more cut and dried. Either you grabbed it and yanked or you didn't. That sort of thing. So I don't know. I just don't know how comfortable I am with having a review. Plus, won't that make the games longer? Something they don't want to do, so that might be a problem as well. But it has been an epidemic this season. So many missed face masks, especially in big games. And it does make you think, what the hell are these guys looking at that they're not seeing this? Because we're not talking about away from the play. These face masks that we're talking about are almost always guys who are holding the ball, which everyone's supposed to be watching here. So I don't know, Craig. Don't know how I'm not against it, but I don't know how if I'm for it either.
Yeah. I definitely see your point on both sides with that. They have missed so many that we just see on TV. It is a little strange. Okay, speaking of 40 years, it has been a really, really long time, folks, since we have had Christmas Day and the first night of Hanukkah start on the same exact night. Like, I am 51. I don't remember this ever happening. Generally speaking, by the time we've gotten to now, and even gotten to Christmas Day, Hanukkah is usually almost over. But for the first time in a really long time, it's going to be the same day. So, true little story here. Since we started up our little company, which has now become a big company here at SportsGrid, and I've been with SportsGrid since the very beginning, I have always worked on Christmas Day, which I'm going to do again this year. You can catch me and Joe Ranieri during the big game on Christmas Day between the Chiefs and, is it the Ravens? I think I'm right about that. Chiefs and Ravens. So I will be on during that time. But the funny part about this was, just to tell you a little personal story, was since I'm always working Christmas Day here, because again, generally speaking, Hanukkah's over. That's what I celebrate. This year, my wife says to me, we're going to have big plans on Christmas Day because it's the first night of Hanukkah. I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute here. I didn't even know. So I went and I looked at the calendar. I saw it. I'm like, listen, whatever we do that day, it has got to be at night because I'm working at SportsGrid. It's Mish here on SportsGrid every single Christmas. I work every single one. Every single Christmas we've been on the air, I'm working 3, 4, 5 hours. In fact, there was one year where I wasn't supposed to work and they called me. I think something happened to George, maybe. I don't remember. But I had to work that day too. So I will see you on Christmas Day. I say it's Mishmas Day around here. And George, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday. And I'll see you after we take our little break next week.
Yeah, she will. By the way, it's Chiefs and Steelers Christmas Day. Chiefs Steelers.
Oh, is it Chiefs Steelers?
Chiefs Ravens already played. Yeah. I don't think I'll be on TV Christmas Day, as I won't be here. I won't return till night, but I'm sure I'll be working in some degree, probably clipping what you're doing on Christmas Day and making sure you look terrible in those little clips for us. Everybody out there, have a great holiday, have a great Christmas, great Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate there. Enjoy. Good luck with your games this weekend. Good luck with your matchups. May you still be alive next weekend. I'm hoping the same for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks to George. Thanks to Sam. I'm Craig Mish. Enjoy your great holiday. For those of you at SportsGrid, also happy holidays as well. The brownies are on the way. Enjoy those. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Mishmas Day.
Riding with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Where have you gone? Don't tell me it's the Philadelphia Eagles, Donnie. Who's the team for you?
You see that Vince Lombardi trophy that sits back here? That's a replica. And that's something that the Philadelphia Eagles have won as recent as 2017. The Buffalo Bills are notorious for making it to the Super Bowl and coming up lame, which they might be able to do. But my question is, can the Buffalo Bills even get to the Super Bowl?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out and just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
Yeah, this is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
They just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at Sport.